Good morning. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram family. Thank you guys for joining me this morning for another episode of Back to the World, my brother and my sister's keeper. I am Tony, and thank you guys for coming on board. Any music that you may hear in the background, we don't own the rights to. But any comments, questions, anything that you have to share, man, hit us in the boxes down below. Okay? Uh, this is a Sonetquity publishing company platform as well as Back to the World, and they're they're co-joined, and they're about the same purpose actually. But today is somewhat of a special day. Okay, it's August 22nd, and August 22nd just happens to be my birthday. Okay, and not just my birthday, but it was my mother's birthday as well. May she rest in heavenly peace. And my mother's name was Josephine Ford. I was her. I was her August 22nd, 1956 birthday gift. You know, after being told that she couldn't have any more kids. So I was stubborn, man. I had to show up and show out. But my mother and I, we celebrated our birthdays every year of my youth. And there were times when I was really young. I can remember when she would have a party, and most adults would come over, and if they had kids, they would bring their kids over. So it would be an adult and a children's party, and I think that somewhat spoiled me in a sense because, excuse me, as I grew older, I grew away, and I wasn't home to celebrate those parties. And it wasn't I didn't run away from home or anything. But I'm saying life takes its place and you move on. So good morning, Yolanda. How you doing? That's Michael Bush and Yolanda on one of my other screens here. Yeah. So what happened as I moved away, my mother wasn't there to celebrate her birthday along with me. So I really didn't feel it. And see, I never really thought about this, but of course, I'm in therapy for PTSD, and a lot of things come out. A lot of things come about, and in talking to the therapist, this is what I've discovered. That I've always felt empty as a young adult when it came to birthdays, and then at my mother's passing, it was like, I guess it's like something like being twins, and if one passes, man, you're connected, y'all are joined, and you somewhat miss that twin, or whatever the situation may be, or you may talk to that twin. So it's almost as if my mother was my twin. And the crazy thing is, it led me down a path of living my life somewhat isolated. And I'm going to get into that in a minute, but I shared this thought with a friend, and he liked it so much that he reached out to me. He'd forgotten how I worded it, but I was telling him sometimes in our insulation, when we want to protect ourselves, and like everyone on here is saying, keep your circle small, don't let many people in, and don't share your business, and stay to yourself. Well, see, that becomes your insulation because you're protecting yourself, right? You're protecting yourself. But then when it comes a time of maybe, celebration or gathering, and you realize that there's no one there, And when you look up and you think about it and you ask yourself, why is no one here? Because you have insulated yourself. And in the process of your insulation, it has given you isolation. You're on an island all alone. See, I know this because I have lived it and I'm living it now. And in the business that I was in, many of you know me, so we don't have to elaborate on that. But in the business that I was in, insulation was tantamount. Isolation was a byproduct. So you celebrate really with your very, very, very close friends and family members. Okay, well, I had gotten so good at that until, just like really still, I have to be reminded of my birthday. I have to be reminded of it. Barring those parties that my mother and father used to give, as an adult, I think I've only had 2 parties, or 2 parties. And I guess one you could call, well, actually a third one too, but let's say a cake was involved. So therefore, that's a third. And the crazy thing is, man, some of the guys in prison knew or discovered that, and I think they read it through through some of my my legal work. And it's on your ID when you was born as well. And they had seen it and they remembered it August 22nd. And they remembered that was my birthday. And a group of guys that I just met, man, really, in prison, threw me a birthday bash, man. Where, they had a cake and they had cake and sodas and what have you. And it made me feel some kind of way. It made me feel that I missed out on a lot of things. It made me feel selfish to a degree. But keep in mind, as I said, the life I was living, that was my protection. Little did I know that, well, we always know, but God's got you. God's got you, but I'm just thinking about the earthly humans in the whole bit. I just isolated myself. And on that occasion that I was speaking of, when I made that comment about your insulation becomes your isolation, I was at a birthday party. Okay? Well, prior to that birthday party, I'd gone to services of someone that passed. Right? And I sat at that wake and I listened to all the wonderful things that were said about this individual, and what a great person that they were. They were giving, they were kind. They talked about some of the funny things in life that he'd experienced and shared with others, the whole bit. Talked about his giving, talked about his great heart. So I left that event, or that ceremony. I left that ceremony and I went directly to the party, if you will. And when I got to the party, it was lavish. It was wonderful. And the guest of honor's wife prepared everything, and it was a surprise party. And man, all the guys showed up, and we sat back and we were waiting for dinner to be served. But in the process of waiting for dinner to be served, You know, the guest came in. He was surprised. He was happy. Everybody greeted him, wished him a happy birthday. Had a card with his picture on it. Everyone signed the whole bit. Well, when I first walked in and I saw how everything looked and arranged, something struck me, but I wasn't able to kind of put my finger on it. But anyway, you know, as things would gravitate, as things would gradually grow, you know, I followed suit. So what happened? We signed the card, and there was a beautiful picture of my man sitting there in all of his, how would you say, his majestic, his majesty. And so as he sat there, we signed the card, the whole bit. I'm going to get on with the story, man, but the phone is ringing. People are calling to wish me a happy birthday. But here's what I'm getting at. Someone decided that we were going to either roast or toast, right? And they started off with everyone getting ready to do so, right? Well, they were going to start with me. I froze. I said, no, start someplace else, man. Let's go around the room. So they went around the room. The first person got up and they spoke on the gentleman and how they perceived them, their perception of this person, their experience. Okay? Well, by the time they got to the second person, ladies and gentlemen, I felt as though I was at that wake. I'm not saying this in disrespect. Follow me here. I felt as though I was at that wake. And it dawned on me at that point in time. And then I felt melancholic. And it was my turn to speak. I froze. Because I was experiencing the same things that I had just experienced at that wake. I know this sounds crazy because when I walked in that wake, there were pictures around the room that was just like the pictures at my friend's party, at my friend's birthday party. The same sort of pictures. And I froze. Well, then after everyone said their kind words, man, I just had so much to say. And I got so filled up. And no one really knew. But I sat there, man. I sat there in total dismay. Because keep in mind, I've gone to parties where they've roasted someone. And I've gone to wakes and funerals where I've even stood up and said kind words about someone. But never have I ever gone to a wake, then left the wake and went to a party where it was toast and roast. And all the same things were said. I'd gone complete circle. And here's the irony. We were celebrating someone's home going. And then we were celebrating someone's homecoming. all in a day, Jay. All in a circle. All the kind words, all the niceties, all the things that we remembered about our friend and his party. All these things were said. And then it dawned on me, you know, I've isolated myself on purpose But during my incarceration, I spent 25 years of having a birthday all alone, not knowing if anyone cared. And prior to that, not caring if anyone cared. But then when I found myself isolated, I realized how much I cared. You know, after that party the other night, I thought and I wondered, what would everyone say about me? If I were to have an out-of-body experience, what would I say about myself? And I realized many of my friends don't even know me. There's so much that I have done. Good morning. What's up? What's up, B? All right. Bless you, bro. There's so much that I've done, so much that I've shared that many don't know about. I don't know how to give. I don't know how to embrace and then go and talk about it as though I'm bragging on it the whole bit. So what do you say about a person that you don't know anything about, or any of their benevolence or what have you? Man, last Friday I was humbled. I was humbled by the passing of a gentleman, and I was humbled by the welcoming of another. And Brother Greg, I'm talking about Brother Greg Lyons. It was his birthday. It was his birthday party. All right? And it was his wonderful wife, Taisha Lyons, that put on the extravaganza. And after I left and I thought about it, I felt so honored to have been invited. And there were some kind words that were said that touched my heart. And I just want to let each and every one of you guys that were there, man, that I appreciate you and I thank you. No one really wants to go alone. And that's what Brother Craig and I spoke on. You know, you find comfort and peace in that, right? But at the same time, man, it's so wonderful to be served your coffee and your flowers while you can smell them. I don't know how many of you ever looked at it like that, man, but when you roast someone in the whole bit, don't think of it like I did, man. Say it sound like a eulogy. Because if that's the case, then at a wake or a funeral, then it sounds like a roast. They're one and the same. For all the birthday greetings and the well wishes, I thank each and every one of you. And man, I know that my mother is smiling down, and she's thanking everyone as well. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone, my family, and all. I love you all, and thank you once again. Peace.